guys, I'm sorry that I did not get to record a lot in January. I went to the Women's March. I've been involved in like work and protesting things, so I haven't had a lot of time to just sit down and actually record the way I had wanted to, therapy, all that good shit. But I wanted to make sure I did a series of videos for Black History Month in addition to the other videos that I promised, which I have recorded already, so that will be coming out throughout the month of February. But the reason why I wanted to do a series of Black History Month videos this year, as for the same reason I wanted to do last year, is because I feel like Black History Month is a trying time for a lot of us, because in theory it should be a time of pride and celebration of Black accomplishments. But I feel like even when you grow up in a majority Black environment or institution, you never really get the full breadth of Black history. You learn a lot about Black struggle and Black suffering, which are important and are legacies that should be remembered, absolutely. But we often lose focus on the other ways Black people have contributed to the world besides slavery and the civil rights movement. Black History Month is especially so American-centric and male-centric. I mean, I could not name for you off the top of my head any Canadian civil rights activists, even though they existed, obviously, but they were never taught to me. They were never seen as a part of what my Black History Month should encompass. And I feel as if even with the figures that we do learn about, the big four, Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Harriet Tubman, and Sojourner Truth, we are always having to do more research to untangle the myths from the fiction about these historical people. The documentary, The 13th, did a really good job of showing about how Martin Luther King and other civil rights leaders, while now we exalt them and recognize the struggle and the amazing difficulties they went through, at the time they were seen as criminals, as terrorists, as threats to the very fabric of American society. And we have sometimes forgotten that because we try to mythologize those figures. Martin Luther King, he is now this figure that even white people raise up and say, look at this man, he stood for nonviolence and civil rights and peace between white and Black folk, but ignore all of the other messages that he spoke about as a civil rights leader and as a nonviolent leader. And so I feel as if we are never really learning the true history when we are learning Black History Month in school. There are so many times where I'll be in the Black Studies section, or I'll be in the library, or I'll just be doing researching and I'll come across a figure who is Black or of Black descent who I had never heard about before in life. And I will be so frustrated and happy about it. Like, I'll be happy that I have found this figure, because it will be like a subject I haven't heard about or a person, and I'll hear about it and I'll feel, on the one hand, elated because I found this new piece of information that I can share and I can consume and I can know about this person. But on the other hand, I'm also frustrated because I went to a majority Black school throughout my elementary to high school years. I should know these things. I shouldn't just be being exposed to them when I'm in college or in a master's course. I remember the first time I read Clotel by William Wells Brown, and I was so shocked that I had never heard of him before. I mean, here is this huge Black literary figure, and I had never heard of him before. His legacy kind of gets overshadowed by someone like Frederick Douglass, and the legacy of Uncle Tom's Cabin kind of casts a big shadow over other anti-slavery fiction at the time, which is disappointing because that is another legacy in and of itself. I'm not going to get into that right now, but that's what I'm saying. We only learn about a handful in the first place, and then the other ones get tossed aside, so we never really get to learn the breadth of what we've done across the world. And then there's this issue of certain figures who you learn are of Black descent, and the one-drop rule is not an adequate or intelligent way of quantifying racial identity in any modern context. But the reason why I find it has been so important for me to find these figures and speak about them and their Blackness is because in the time that they were growing up or existing, the one-drop rule made you Black in the eyes of society. And it meant that you were going to deal with discrimination, especially if you're the parent figure who you were Black through was well known. was well known. I think of, Alexander Dumas Sr. and Pushkin, who both had black ancestry. Dumas, his father was Thomas Alexander Dumas, and he was a huge military figure in France. He himself was mixed race. And so you look at portraits of Alexander Dumas, and he's clearly a mixed race man. I mean, he has our hair. Like, he has our hair. I remember the first time I saw it, and I felt like it was like this instant recognition of that feature of like, that's my hair. Like, that's my hair on this writer who I've read and is this amazing French author. He looks like me a little bit. And that recognition was so profound because here's a man who was one of the great French writers, one of my favorite authors, and he had this part of me. We share this identity that was never told to me until I seeked it out, because I didn't see his portraits aren't really on books. When you're younger, when I first read the Count of Monte Cristo, no one told that to me. And then you hear about someone like Pushkin, whose great-great-grandfather was a young black boy stolen from Africa, raised under Peter the Great, was introduced into the Russian nobility, and grew up in France, and married white women, and had this child, this great-grandson, who is one of the greatest Russian literary figures of all time, and he has black features or mixed race features when you look at portraits of him, and that was part of his reality because people knew that he was mixed race because of who his ancestors were. And so both of these men, while they had just a little bit of black blood, that made their lives a struggle. It made what they did in their work extra significant because they were doing it in a time where it was thought that if you had black blood, you were a mongrel, that you were inherently inferior because that black blood made you worse. And even though those men, had maybe one black ancestor in their succession, it was significant no matter what. And it's important for us to remember that the breadth of black accomplishment did not begin with slavery. It did not begin with Jim Crow. It did not begin in civil rights movements. And it wasn't just in America. It's all over the world. Our legacy is more than just the struggle and suffering. There are black people who were in Europe, maybe not a whole lot, but they were there and they were doing things. There are black people from Canada and England and the Netherlands who did interesting and fascinating things, and their legacy is part of our black history. And so for me, what Black History Month has become is a time for reflection on what blackness means for me. It means for me as a black woman, as a black bisexual woman, as a black bisexual woman with mental illness, who was told growing up that she wasn't black enough, and whose family, I'm first generation American, so most of my family, pretty much all of my family, is from the Caribbean. So I'm first generation American, so American history, the identity of what it means to be African American, is foreign to me in a lot of ways because I did not grow up in that cultural context of being from the South or having family from the South. What I wanted to do with these upcoming videos were to talk about issues going on in the black community and my black consciousness that I still feel affect us today, and I hope that they will lead to interesting discussion. I put a lot of research effort into some of them that required it, and I'll link sources like I did before last year, and I hope that they allow us as black people, or as people interested in what it means to be black and understanding what blackness is in a larger way, that it will give us a place to discuss these issues, because being able to share our history orally is such a large part of, African culture, and it's a part of our identity as people. If we find knowledge, we should share it and spread it out with people. And so that's what I really want to do. So the videos that I worked on for this event, I'm going to do one video on colorism. I'm going to do one video on black feminism, because of course. I'm going to do another video on what it means to be black and being black enough, which is probably going to be more discussional and anecdotal than a lot of other things, but I hope that it will be good for everyone, because I know a lot of black fans who probably watch this video or watch my channel probably have heard at some time in their life that they aren't black enough. And then I would like to talk about some historical black figures who we really don't get a lot of acknowledgement about. And I think that's why Hidden Figures was so great for me. And I read the book and I saw the movie because I never heard of it. I never knew about the black women who were in NASA. No one thought to tell me this. As a young black girl, no one ever thought to show me that that was a path I could have taken. And so I hope that through my videos and through what I know, that I can give people a place to put their knowledge and share what they know, because I think that that is the only way that we're ever going to go beyond our limited understanding of what Black History Month is and turn into what it could be. And so I hope that is something you guys are looking forward to. Among other videos, I'm going to talk about, you know, Riverdale and Moana and all that kind of stuff too. But this was very important to me to get out, to let you know it's coming, and it's already been pre-recorded, so it'll be fun and interesting, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. Also, shout out to Uber Hikari. I saw your art. It was amazing. I think I commented back to you in the comment section, but I did see it, and it was excellent, and thank you so much for it. You're awesome. So I hope to see you guys soon. Thumbs up, like, subscribe, bada bing, bada boom. And I've been thinking about starting a podcast to kind of do more of these long form videos. So if you guys are interested in that, you know, just let me know, because I have the equipment for it. I just didn't know people wanted to hear my voice for even more than the little bit of time I'm talking now. So just give me some feedback and we'll see what we can do.